So, I don't know if everybody is here. Is everybody here?
Not yet, probably.
Huh?
Not yet.
Not yet. No, I'm just asking. Because I like to conduct this kind of things on a rather personal platform. It's good to know who is the audience, who is sitting there. So you don't give a lecture about book distribution only to a bunch of pujaris or something like this. Or, 2-hour Sankirtan talk to cooks. It's good to know who is sitting here. So one speaks on relevant issues ultimately and gains hopefully the maximum attention. So basically I think whoever wanted to come is here. Means those who do go on Sankirtan already, I heard. I collected some maximum information I could from Gopalacharya Prabhu. So this is somebody goes out? Who goes out already? Huh? Alright, that's nice. Yeah. That's the camper crew. Huh?
Well, I'm not part of the camper crew though.
But you join them here and there?
No.
Or you go out on your own?
I go out on my own. I go to houses around Dublin and a bit further out, and then travel by a bike.
And you stay in Dublin?
I stay in Dublin, yeah, usually.
Okay. You have to forgive me, my English is could be called collected American. ISKCON American. The first word I learned in English in ISKCON was, or the first sentence was, don't space out. And the second word I learned was anyway. That's how my English started, because in school I didn't learn so much. So I learned all the ISKCON, whatever you can learn. That probably comprises already the ISKCON language. Anyway. So I don't know the Irish. I know Irish very well from hearing it here and there. It's actually funny. I cannot do this ending up going up all the time, Go ahead, So the only island is famous for is that everybody is his name is McLaughlin or something like this. And it's known for terrorism, whiskey, and and river dance. That's the only thing, Anybody hearing about Ireland, these bunch of girls dancing in a very particular way on a stage. That's getting the Irish image. The island emanates to the external world. But I know Irish devotees. They're wonderful. They are very tough. There's two kinds of devotees you cannot destroy. That's Australian and Irish devotees. Australian devotees are all the grandchildren from criminals. Not tough guys. And Irish are all the grandchildren from terrorists. So it's a tough people you have here, and that can be very useful, especially in an age where every bhakta comes from a background where the mother was Google and the father Facebook. There's not much strength to gain this way. The internet products we are getting nowadays in Doha, it's a little bit weak, I would say. I'm coming from a generation which will be certainly excited by the title. I'm good here that I didn't create the title for what I'm supposed to speak about, that the Sankirtan is an ongoing revolution. The word revolution was very popular in the 60s, 70s of the previous century, where more or less everybody was working against something. What? He didn't know, but something. You picked up something. I remember as an art student we used to go. I didn't like it much, but everybody was going on a demonstration in a town every Saturday, picking up various sizes of stones and smashing it into the windows of bank and shopping houses, and screaming Ho 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 Chi Minh. There's a special mantra, I don't know what that means. So it was like a very popular thing to revolt. But I didn't like it, as a matter of fact, because the word revolution actually is usually meaning something destructive. You go somewhere and you smash something because you don't like it. And I'm born in a communistic country which was powered by very revolutionary spirit, death to the all imperialists, whoever it was. But they invited their own death because there was no really constructive concept. It was just very good to go there somewhere and destroy something because we don't like it. But what comes next? You know. And we have our ISKCON history as well. Many things were changed, removed, and then one comes next. You know. Death to the temple president. Okay. So who comes next? Well, just another temple president. And he will basically suffer the same way like the one before. You know, I don't want to go now into the, describing the ordeals of temple president. Kind of Krishna gave me from everything something. This is supposed to be our book distribution, not about how to torture temple presidents. But you can do that. You know, it's a horrible service actually. You know, when you are a cook, at least somebody is appreciating sometimes. When you are a pujari, somebody may appreciate sometimes. But when you are temple president, nobody ever appreciates anything. You can do whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to do, it's going to be wrong. They will tell you that's wrong. And there's always more people telling you that's wrong as people who are telling you it's good. That's Kali Yuga especially. You have to find even a temple president in Europe or a manager as such is extremely difficult. We have a whole underground movement or graveyards full of managers, that's okay, but not living ones, really. Well, there you go. It's very, very sad in one sense because it's needed. Everything has to be, as Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, it needs an organized attempt to spread Krishna consciousness. Organized attempt. Organized attempt means immediate management. Organized attempt means discipline. You know, it became very popular and customary that nowadays you come to Krishna consciousness and you do something. You like it, whatever you like. What do you like? Oh, I like something. Okay, do it for Krishna. Whatever you like. That was of course not the Sankirtan spirit I grew up in. I walked in a door, but it was a little bit heavy. That's extreme. So how I survived, I don't know, but I did survive. Somehow under by Prabhupada's mercy. But the first thing I got to hear in the door was not about Krishna's beauty, but I was very detailed informed about the fact that I'm stupid. It was greatly explained to me in a great length. You're stupid. You're not supposed to say anything. Just listen. Because devotee is perfect and the devotee is me. And you are not yet devotee. So you have to listen from me. Of course, I got to know that, and so that some devotees act a little bit funny. Like they beat each other up or something like this. Not nothing uncommon those days. We were all 18, 20 years old boys, So when you have 18, 20 years old boys walking around, there's a lot of passion. And in Germany, I was not a German even, so I was not qualified fully. So, it was a tough training. I was first day in the temple, second day they cut my hair, third day they put a dhoti on me, and the fourth day I was on Sankirtana for 15 years. I didn't know much of the temple, really. So that was my training. It was like, how do you teach somebody to swim? You just grab him and throw him in the water, that's all. And there's two ways. He will drown or survive. Somehow I survived, but I had to drink lots of water, I have to remember. I was served many times under. So it's also training. Of course, nowadays we have the privilege, and the new devotees have this luxury. They can learn. Not only from they can learn from the older devotees, if the older devotees are honest enough to teach them. But how wonderful thing it is to go out on Sankirtan and distribute books. And what mistakes can be done too. Because we did them all. So one can learn from the mistakes of the past, not to repeat them again. And simultaneously, one can get a taste. Because we all came because of a taste of prasadam, taste of association of devotees. There's something which we don't know what it was. We couldn't define it in the beginning, but it made us to stay. Or this taste towards things we did, this taste to this association we had. So now we are here, we dropped into Krishna consciousness. We should never forget where we came from. And basically from hell. So, the more one advances in Krishna consciousness, the more one understands how rare it is to become a devotee actually, really. And how rare it is that somebody does understand the value of being devoted. It's extremely, Krishna says, amongst thousands and thousands there is one who may develop even an interest. And amongst thousands of these there is one who will do something about it. And there is among thousands and thousands of these is one who actually makes real advancement. And finally amongst thousands of these there is somebody who may go back home back to God. So that's a little bit scary. On the other side, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, the process is easily available. It is a little bit regretful that the culture, one could call it the culture of book distribution, which is an ongoing revolution, which goes in both ways, outside or inside. As Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj told Srila Prabhupada, when you preach to others, it will be good for you and it will be good for them. So book distribution is a perfect example of this. That while you are giving, the most lasting contribution, the most lasting thing which Prabhupada left behind, his books. He said, I put myself into these books. Everything what I wanted to say is in these books. So when we give back, that's such a lasting contribution. We used to quote Prabhupada on one thing that he said that if the whole universe would be destroyed, there was actually one devotee who said Prabhupada appreciated that sentiment. If the whole universe would be destroyed and there would be only one Bhagavad Gita, one Srimad Bhagavatam left, nothing got lost. Prabhupada, that's the sentiment actually. I'm spreading this Krishna consciousness movement. Prabhupada was himself amazed how many devotees joined. Originally, by the time there was 350 devotees in this movement, Prabhupada said, we have enough. Now let them all train up to be a good devotees. But then more came. Like Srila Prabhupada had even planned to accommodate Matajis in the temples. He said they should be very nice, Krishna conscious, chant Hare Krishna at home with the mother. Then he saw there is no mother. And they are coming like anything. So many join. And they do actually wonderful service. Even preaching-wise. Prabhupada did something which was never done before in the history of Vaishnavism. He put everybody into the preaching field, including women, including householders. This was never done before. And he allowed them to stay. And he even developed a name, had to name it something, so he called it Brahmacharini. You never find it in the Shastra. Sri Mahabrahmacharini Uvacha, you never find this. Prabhupada had to call it something. Later on they want to develop into Sannyasini. Well, that Prabhupada didn't say. But, but the real thing is that Prabhupada wanted everybody, every member of this movement, one way or another being involved with preaching. And the most safe and valuable preaching is to give somebody a book. Why? Well, it saves us lots of time to talk, And what talk? Our talk maybe is not of such a pure quality. Like I can speak, about all kinds of things, and certainly there'll be people who will say, this Manidhara said this and that, I wouldn't see it like that. But actually if it's in a book, printed, the words of Prabhupada, you try to argue with that. Of course people still try to do that also, but it's much more difficult. And this is where staying. This will stay even we are not here. Along in this temple room, anytime I come to this old temples established places who has a rich history. How many devotees I see coming out of these walls and ceilings? Devotees I never saw, never met. Devotees came, devotees went. So many, it's coming, going. But the temple somewhat goes on. Sometimes even the temple may not go on. But the books go on. The books are distributed. They will be there. You can say, well, some people throw the books away also. I know a man who became very Krishna conscious simply by collecting these books from garbage bags. He found them discarded. So you never know where the book goes. It's not under our control. But it's revolutionary. Why? Because it's going to change something. Just the presence of the book, physical presence, will change the environment. Now I know that there are devotees who have doubts. After so many years of book distribution, we distributed the books, and where is the big change and this? The change is there. The change is there. I can give you an example of Germany alone. When I came, joined 1972 in Germany, just a German officer, I came already with dhoti and tilak to the office, being, young bhakta, trying to show to the world, I'm Hare Krishna, I make my revolution here. Those days, actually it's a fact, most members of my generation, I knew, could do only three things. You could become a terrorist, drug addict, or Hare Krishna. There was actually three types of existence. So I thought Hare Krishna is most practical. I never took drugs. I thought this is some unpredictable experiments. It was too dangerous. I was afraid. I thought this is too crazy. Terrorists, I thought it's primitive. Just go somewhere, blow up something, and they fix it again, and that's it. The only one who benefits is the insurance company. So it's like, it's just like ridiculous. So, but Hare Krishna, that was really something. But I never thought I will be one of them. I just say I will try it out. Well, I'm still trying it out, after 40 years. It seems to be a good way to try. You never come to believe, oh, I'm a full-time devotee. It's like one of my god sisters who, one Mataji who just, due to circumstances was, let's say, retiring a little bit from active duty. She told me full of guilt, I'm not a fully practicing devotee anymore. And I told her, don't worry, me not either. She was shocked, she couldn't understand what I mean by that. Because fully practicing devotee must be a pure devotee. Fully practicing devotee must be on the level of bhava at least. So, below that, we are always not exactly though fully practicing. We have our contaminations, we have our modes of nature contaminating us. All this can become easily revealed to us when we try to tune into preaching, sankirtan, book distribution. This will be easily revealed to us. Why? Because this activity doesn't permit cheating or pretense. You can pretend, actually, doesn't mean that you have to do it. You can pretend to be a very advanced pujari. People will go, wow, how many tattoos, how many neck beads on the neck, how many kalachas, how many mantras, mantras nobody ever heard. Wow, what an advanced pujari. I'm not saying they are like this. Actually, I speak about this in a very theoretical way because this is one of the services I never did. And I have a high appreciation for anybody who is dedicating his life to this activity. It's actually, when it's done really, it's a very, very austere activity. But I'm coming from times where even the pujaris carried a high level of Sankirtan spirit. When the Sankirtan devotees came back to the temple, the pujaris had a feast too, festival. Now here the deities give out the mercy to the Sankirtan devotees. There was an atmosphere you cannot imagine. We had in Germany an arrangement that whoever distributed most books that week could do the Mangal Artik puja for Varna Mohan, directly on the altar. So that was carefully calculated, and for 5 years that was me. So, and I'm not a pujari, never received any training, but we have all the best pujaris you can imagine in the whole ISKCON. Very high level of puja. So when I came on the altar, I felt horrible. I said, "Sir, I don't know one thing. What shall I do?" And he looked at me and he immediately knew who is he talking to. He said he knew I'm a hopeless case. So he just said, "Hey, listen, there's these things on a plate here. So you just grab each single one. Make 7 circles to the deities and put it down again." And I said, no, but you are making much more complicated thing. I heard you are chanting some mantras. He said, just chant Hare Krishna mantra. Then I delivered the final argument. I said, but I cannot do puja, I'm not pure enough. He said, you distributed books the whole week, you are completely purified. And that was like the qualification. Because nowadays some people even think this is crazy. No, actually it was accepted. Besides the fact that when the Mangala Artik, when the curtain went open, and I did my puja, I offered the ghee lamp to my opponents, who knew perfectly well I was the number one, because otherwise I wouldn't be on the altar. So without reading even the Sankirtan results, I was, we were all young boys, just running around day and night. When you have a temple consisting only from 30 brahmacharis and 25 brahmacharinis, can you imagine what the atmosphere that is? It's just, the walls are shaking all the time. I remember one of the biggest problems of managers was how to keep the handles on doors intact. Because when you are in a mode of passion, then all the handles goes. Brahmacharis, we even speculated later on when I was manager, it really made me furious. I said maybe we'll make big doors like in the saloon, in a Wild West, these doors go like this. What's the use of handles and this, they rip it out anyway. Just mode of passion, that's all. When you are 20, 22, you don't see the difference between enthusiasm and mode of passion. There's actually 2 different things. That you find later on out, when the mode of passion is exhausting itself, you cannot be passionate anymore, then the question is how much enthusiasm is left over. Because enthusiasm is originally something spiritual. But mode of passion will just exhaust itself into mode of ignorance, depression. That you see in the economy, there is always, progress and recession. And progress and recession. Depression and up and down like this. This is economy in a mode of passion. So, Sankirtan can be also conducted like this. Nevertheless, it doesn't leave any room for cheating. You will find out. Sooner or later, you will find out. And you will be daily confronted with people who will tell you. Sometimes we think, very soon devotees assume this attitude, I'm a devotee, I'm progressing, or I'm very progressive body. This is dukkhamis. I grew up really in this mood. I was trained that this is dukkhamis out there. And immediately the quote came from Srimad Bhagavatam. Camels, asses, animals. So now we go out to bless the animals. In a strict, absolute sense it's true, but who is us? Maybe slightly reformed animals, let's face it. And that the karmis will show you. The people will show you this to you. And they will tell you things which are not all irrelevant. They will tell you lots of stupid things too. But they will tell you things, they will show you. And you feel you are a big devotee. So for every big devotee there is a big karmi. And they clash on each other like 2 trains going on the same rail against each other. I will show you my Shastra. No, I will show you my false ego. And Kamis are always winners on this platform. Nobody can be as puffed up as they are. So they're always losing it there, right away there. Because our only weapon is humility. And surrender to Krishna and His mercy that they don't have. So that's where we've been. And that's what you learn very fast. If you think you are small, your problems will be small. If you think you are big, your problems will be very big. So, so it's very simple mathematical formula. It's very simple. And Sankirtan is teaching us. There are so many lessons to be learned. Most of the devotees are coming from a very introverted background. Not very inspired people. I saw even very prominent, famous people joining this movement. But actually, in reality, they were very, very alone, very lonely. Sometimes these famous people are very lonely, they are very depressed. When they go on a stage and they go, wow, and they perform, who knows what, people sing, oh. But actually, it's a lonely man jumping around like a monkey. Therefore they take to intoxication and all this. So when they become devotees, or they try to become devotees, you can see it. Most of us were not materially very inspired people. Actually, they have a simple American word for this. We were all losers. Not very inspired one way or another. So that becomes evident when you go on Sankirtan. You may not believe it, but I didn't speak hardly one word to anybody until I was 16 or 17. I didn't speak to anybody. That people think my parents think is a very special child. No friends, nothing. I don't know why. I remember I was inspired to join this. I just only read something, or painted something, wrote something, talking to myself. That's all. I didn't thought there was a very big reason to talk about what. How is the weather? How is the money? How is the girlfriend? It's just a boring thing. How do you tap into that? Girls were for me like entities from another planet, like UFOs from another. I never understood one thing what they are doing. What is this? And I had other school friends that were just going, ha! And they went to the girl and said, "How are you doing tonight?" Ha! I was going, oh, that's pretty bold, wow, how do you do that? And I don't want to go too much in detail. Of course, I got intended too, but relatively very minor way. Even when I joined, devotees were looking at me, Germans. They are not very subtle and not very silent people. So, so they look at me and say, say something. And I was like, Hare Krishna. And they were going, oh, say something. Actually, those days it was all just these macho boys, just marching around. When they looked at me, I was from a Slavian country, so that was already clear, because Germans already think they are the superior race. So, so they just looked at me and they were going, and I was just, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And they were going, that was what I got, from the other brahmacharis. And I said, what do they mean? But there was this, and then they throw me on the street. And I just did it in the same way. Hello. And I was so scared of these people. And actually I hated them. So I remember the first day on Sankirtan, I went only to grandmothers. Really old mothers. With a bunch of magazines. They gave me a big pile of magazines and left me alone there. And they left. The car left. And I said, what shall I say? And they said, well, say what we all used to say those days. We are monks. Yes, we are monks. We are coming from India. There are many hungry children in India. They are starving. So give donation for the hungry children in India and we give you some magazine. Completely stupid mantra. It was not true. Nothing went to India. But, And I said, but I never was in India. And the devotees were going, shut up! This is a mantra! Okay. I was very loyal always to authorities. I did any stupid thing that they told me. So I just said that. And there was this old ladies, and they were nice. They always took the magazine. And after 4 or 5 hours, I distributed like 250 magazines. But the problem was they all just gave me the coins. I didn't know where to put the coins. So the only thing I had was some pockets. So I looked like a camel, it's like packaged like this with the coins, and I didn't know where to put the coins. Until the magazines were gone, I by that time was so finished and so in Maya that I couldn't even remember the holy name. I was, suddenly the car came with devotees again in the evening. Haribol, come in! And I was going, good evening. I was completely like in a dream. And they grabbed me, pulled me in a car, and they said, what happened? Where are the magazines? And I said, they're all gone. And they went, where's the money? I said, here. And they're going, oh great! And then they took me and they took me out, like some box. And they drove me to the temple. And I was completely like in a dream. I said, this can't be real. This is some dream, I'm dressed up like this, and then the first day on the street with the devotees, the wind is always blowing in the opposite direction, you feel totally naked. I felt like naked, they cut off my hair, I felt like sculpted and naked, And then these magazines, I couldn't even understand what it is. It was like a dream. But somehow I felt, no, I will not go back. To what? To sit there alone in some flat again and trying to be genius? I was scared. I said, no, not again that. At least these people, they smile, and they're happy. Everybody was happy, believe it or not. We didn't even know how happy we are. So they dragged me in a temple, like a sacrificial lamb, and the temple president came down the stairs, and the first word he was going, hey, how was the new one? It was the Tutadasi had this big mouth with foul teeth inside. And they said, he was good! 250 magazines, 3 hours! And he looked at me and he had this big smile from ear to ear. He said, hey, here's a Sankirtan devotee. So him who later on renamed me, I got actually new name, it was not Manidhara but Manidhara. And that was it for the next 15 years. It wasn't an easy time. We got training by the mercy of the German police, you cannot imagine. This is Belfast, straight. You were chased I think it was only 2 kinds of minorities which got persecuted by the Germans in the history of Germany. It was Jews and the Hare Krishnas. We got the same treatment without the gas chambers. Otherwise, everything was there already. So, because Germans have they have a funny nature, When they are confronted with something new, like we were new, So, they go, and then they go, what was that? In other words, first they smash it and they examine what it was. That's the German logic. So, we went through the treatment. First they were laughing about us, then they realized they are here, they will not go away, they become more. Then they try to smash us, with police, anything you can imagine. Heavy court cases, getting beaten on the police stations all the time, things like that. For us, because we were revolutionaries, it was fun. Every time a German policeman was beating me, I felt like, that's more inspiring. Because now I have to make my decision here. What I'm going to do. I'm not going to be with these people. So, there was a revolutionary spirit, definitely that. But just a kind of revolution in itself without knowledge, proper knowledge, is doomed to end. And motivation will take its end. So when we're speaking about ongoing revolution, Krishna conscious revolution, we mean revolution powered by knowledge. It's Ananda Buddhivardhanam, revolution, ever expanding, continuous, not the one who starts and stops again, being replaced by another revolution of a worse kind, producing leaders of a much lower quality. And there will be always some leaders, okay? And then they will be removed, and then comes the next generation of leaders. They'll be of the lowest quality. And well, that's the history of Kali Yuga, you know. That's how Kali Yuga goes. No, we want actually progressive evolution, and that's only possible on the basis of knowledge, which comes from Srila Prabhupada's books. So Srila Prabhupada, being very inspired by the Sankirtan results he produced, he finally made this one comment. Yeah, but what about the books? I'm reading them too. Because I wrote these books for you, you know, too. So you don't just distribute them, you read them too. And when you read Srila Prabhupada's books, especially first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, you will get into revolutionary spirit. If you don't, then you didn't read them properly. This is not a bookworm knowledge, as Prabhupada defined it, for people who just relax at home with their nice sofas, you know, lighten up the fire and discuss Vedanta. No. This is knowledge which is to be practiced. And Sankirtan is teaching us that. What you speak, you have to do. Therefore it eliminates hypocrisy. No, you can power, you can be for a while prominent even in that field on a level of motive passion, but you cannot sustain it. It will bring about your nature. As more you realize you are not this body, the more you realize what kind of body you are not. Because in the beginning we don't know one thing. We are living in a time where even the women are not so sure they are men and the men are not so sure they are not women. We are so confused. Prabhupada called us members of an unknown caste. You know, that means you cannot be called, what is it? Who is it? He looks like a Shudra, but sometimes he preaches like a Brahmana. He looks like a Brahmana, but sometimes he looks like a Shudra. You know, it's very confusing. Women look like women, but they sometimes act like men. I used to power restaurants too, you know. And we had in Stockholm, in Sweden, there was, you know, I remember especially Matajis from Yugoslavia, from that part of the world. Oof, you know, they were like men. And I got straight instruction from the GBC. If you deal with them like women, they will respond like women. If you deal with them like men, they will respond like men. So basically, I deal with Mataji almost like with men. You know, same service. As a matter of fact, men, I don't want to now insult any Swedish men, but they couldn't lift up even a pot in a kitchen. There was some Yugoslavian Mataji, come on, Prabhu, 150 meters, you know. I was like, oh, wow. I asked Mataji, what did you do before you joined? I was just fighting. I never had any toys. My only toy was Kalashnikov. You know, I had my Kalashnikov in the backyard. And after the school, I was going, you know, that was fun. So, you know, Kali Yuga is a very confused place. You never know who you are dealing with, you know. But Sankirtan brings it all about. Like in Sankirtan land, you will watch it. It's going to happen right away there. In the Sankirtan land, you will see. There will be 4 kinds of, let's say 4 brahmacharis. It can easily happen. The one, he will go out and distribute books. Just to eliminate his pain and eliminate pain of others. His preaching will be very simple. He needs a good prasadam, lots of work, and he likes to work. Who guess who it is? What kind of body he is carrying around? You know, kind of really Shudra, right? And then you have another one, like when I joined the Sankirtan land, as a bhakta I was really sitting in a bag, but it was not for long, because my Sankirtan leader, those days we had a specific programs, we don't have them today. I asked the temple president, why sometimes my Sankirtan leader, who was distributing sometimes lots of books, but he came around the corner, there's a smoke coming from his nose. And he just slammed the fist on the table and said, "He did it again! Call him!" And they had some very heavy talk. Well, I later understood he was still smoking some cigarettes in between while he was distributing books. So this was like, those days, that was the problems, And then he said, "You are Sankirtan leader." And I was like, oh, from one minute to another. And then I had my own party. And of course, then I did something which I wanted to do. Everybody was very regulated. Regulation is very important in Sankirtan. Sadhana of any kind, very important, keeps the mind regulated. Everybody changes 16 rounds, everybody is rested, everybody has, enough prasadam. All these things I didn't have when I joined this movement, Sankirtan. Never time to chant, never enough to eat, never time to rest, And then what you end up with crash cars and, all kinds of things. So, but why was I always going for the steering wheel? I was always, not because the other brahmacharis were falling asleep all the time. They did. It was regular experience those days when you drive car, you see the driver just, the car goes this way and that way. Very unpleasant feeling when you sit in the back, So, because there was too much halava and too little sleeping and not regulated life really. It was more of passion. And so, why was I always going for that? That also revealed something to me. And why is one brahmachari always interested in cooking? We have to eat something, and he collects, even makes a special marathon to buy a new pot for the van or whatever. It can happen. So these inclinations are there. We have different kind of bodies. People in a material sense, once you are in Maya, you don't know anything. You don't know even what kind of body you are not. Nothing. People just imagine things. I'm intellectual. Well, a little secret. Most of the devotees are not intellectuals. We are simple people. We want some good food, good music, and lots of dance, and we want to be happy. And if you say it nowadays, people say, "How barbarian!" No, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? But we kind of open the Bhagavatam, we try to be very, we suck in some shlokas, it's like, we don't even know where they came from, where they belong, but anyway, just, and we try to look Brahminical, very Brahminical. Just sometimes we feel like we would like to beat somebody, but anyway, we are very Brahminical. It's like, why to be so false? And Sankirtan doesn't allow this. Therefore, Sankirtan devotees are sometimes considered kind of a bit asocial because they get so happy and I remember in Germany once upon a time we even had to move the Sunday feast. The Sunday feast was for the kind of guests, and then the Sankirtan feast was on Wednesday in the middle of the week. And so the Sankirtan devotees don't come much in touch with the Sunday feast guests because they were so wild, they were so passionate and enthusiastic. And people were sometimes intimidated, and they were packing all these cars, and we had in front of the door, we had a 15 or 30 vans, up to 30 vans. Can you imagine what that is on a very Sunday? And you pack 30 cars in front of the door, with books and flying around and boga, and just like an army, It was like, I was to imagine somebody comes to Krishna consciousness first time, and he goes and just like the war started, And he goes, I would like to know something about universal form. And they go, and it's like, this is how I was treated, when I walked in the door. It was such a spirit. I was like drawn into this. You have now this is much more difficult. Now by your mercy, in Ireland, some sort of Sankirtan party is starting. That's wonderful. Because once it started, took a physical form, then other people may get the idea, that's what you do also in Krishna consciousness. That's interesting. Maybe I would like to try it out too. But I traveled 15 years through Europe, most of the countries, Sankirtan being completely eliminated, not one single car going out. maybe one devotee here tries and remembers still, oh, I will, but that's difficult. Because the new people come around, they do. But they see just, what do they meet? We don't want to go too much in detail, but they meet. It's maybe some dedicated, the last pujari on the altar, right? Clong, 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 clong. I die here. I will die. I will die for the deities. Clong, clong, clong. Not exactly the most inspiring sight, when you're a new bhakta, you come in the door, you think, oh, someone is dying on the altar. Wow. It's really inspiring, isn't it? Right? Wow. And nobody here. Empty. You think, when are they coming? No, they will never come. They're gone. They're there. It's not exactly what makes you fire up. And then the next question, and you would ask, what happened? Where are they gone? They are here. Or they are here, but not here. I was supposed to become a temple president in Villa Vrindavan. It's like 300 families living around the temple. 300 in Toscana, in Italy. A temple is 5,000 square meters of a living space, just I think it was 5,000. It was endless. I got lost in the temple. I didn't even know where I am, corridors and huge place. Once upon a time there were 350, 380 devotees living in the temple. So, it's like you walk around and when I came there was 8 devotees living in the temple. So it's like, hello, Haribol. Then from the cellar, you way down there, half a kilometer where you hear, Haribol. You think, oh, they locked him up and didn't let him out. It's a kind of special atmosphere which is not exactly inviting a new bhaktas to come, So, we wish sometimes this kind of mood would come back, because Sankirtan would bring life. Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj said, a preacher must be alive. A dead stone cannot preach. And that brings it out. You have to come out. And I am a living example of that. I can talk now until 6 in the evening, that. Non-stop. You will not even come out of the door, passing through. And I am a person who didn't say one word until I joined this movement. Well, what happened? Well, it's very simple. I just went on Sankirtan, And the karmis were forcing me to talk. I had to express myself. I had to relate to people. I had to look in their eyes. And they were trying to challenge me, and I had to stand my ground, and I had to, explain to them. And in Germany, they are very challenging. It's a very good training field. The first thing they go, dear permission. In German preaching, those days. Now it became better. But those days. You have permission? Of course. Do you have a permission to open your mouth? You have to be like, it's police station atmosphere. All the time. It's like, I even joked with the devotees. I said, we progressed. Some years ago you were all standing like this. Now you're standing like this. It's all this, serious. It's like attacking Stalingrad, Prabhupada liked that. He actually liked this discipline and this military spirit. And there's a photo from those days. It was the second time he came to Germany when I got initiated by him. There's a photo of Sankirtan devotees standing in front of the castle. There's this kind of thing. Yeah, this remembers me a little bit. It was a bit bigger. Schloss Lettershof. Very similar design. No wonder that the one who got this castle was inspired, because he came from such a castle. Right? And, there was a castle, and there was like 15 white Volkswagen buses. Everybody had a flag or something like this, with Hare Krishna on it. And every drivers were standing in front of the buses, like the German army with the tank drivers, standing in front of the tanks. And they were all just, instead of like this, they were like, it was a photo like this. Prabhupada liked this German strive for quality and organization, and this can be applied, but if it's just that, then of course you get a problem too. Because Germans know how to go to hell in the most efficient, organized way. It's still because they forget what they are doing. So anyway, I don't want to just throw over Germans. Every country has something. But we have and Prabhupada said, when you go on Sankirtan, then the best of the country and the best what's in you will come out. It will be revealing the best part of everybody. Because it doesn't matter when you are organized, over-organized. It doesn't matter when you are over-terroristic. I don't know what exactly the Irish modes are. I would have to be here for a while. But there is always a good side and there is something which is bad. And Sankirtan brings out the best side. And, and that kind of activity will create basis and training for our Krishna consciousness. Now Sankirtan culture means actually that everybody can be involved. It's not just for brahmacharis. Even brahmacharis proved, of course, to be in a history the most productive ones in terms of numbers. But everybody can be part of it. I remember we had in the North European zone, and also the early days of the preaching in the Eastern countries was very much prominent by that. That anybody coming close to this movement had to be involved with book distribution one way or another. I mean, I remember even in Russia it was of course extreme. In Russia everything is extreme. But you end up having families going on the street, pushing the trolleys with children, with babies, going, walking, husband, wife. And Bhagavad Gita's underneath. The trolley was like a little Sankirtan van. Going, hello, take one book, and the baby was, It was just a family taking a walk, and then there was a book distribution. Everybody was somewhere connected. I remember Mataji's, even with the babies on the arm, they went out, and the babies had a little invitation card, and it was handling the invitation card to the people, and they were going, oh, they took the card, and the Mataji gave them a book. It was like, now I'm not saying that all the babies should go in a Sankirtan dance. It's not the point. But somehow or other, anybody being connected to this movement, was, motivated by this spirit. Let's get the books out. Prabhupada said temples are just bases for books. And he said, they should be so packed with my books that there is no place to sleep. And if you want to sleep, then you have to distribute some books. He wrote this in a letter like this. I want my temples all fully stocked with my books. And that was the life and the mood Prabhupada injected into us. Now of course, you get older, maybe the body doesn't work that well, but it doesn't mean that we should lose that spirit. That doesn't mean that. We should always stay in tune with that spirit Prabhupada gave, because it will make us very healthy. Prabhupada objected even to sannyas at a certain point. You know that? One of my Godaris, he was insisting to take sannyas, and Prabhupada said, what's the use? You are the best book distributor in this movement. That's 1,000 times better as sannyas. What do you want to do? When you are sannyas, you have to follow so many obligations. Sannyas in ISKCON is a very social thing. So you have to look like that, and you have to follow so many things, and you cannot do this, and you cannot do that, and very restricted in one sense. So, but then book distributor is more free. Up to the point in America, devotees end up walking around distributing books like Santa Claus on the street. Because in America, Christmas, there's billions of Santa Claus out there. So it didn't take long. I remember that year, it was a devotee who was competing with me because I was number one in Europe. And he was number one in America. And he was competing with me. So he ended up also in a Santa Claus suit on the street, distributing books. Ho, ho, ho! Prabhupada's gifts are here, and just distributed. He had a sack with Krishna books inside, and he brought the Krishna books out. It was a paperback, trilogies. And he did amazing amount of books. He defeated me completely. I was wondering, how is he doing that? Maybe I should also. But in Germany, the Santa Claus cult is not so big. In America, it's like billions of Santa Claus going out there collecting, really, for everything. it became so rampant that the newspaper wrote, "Don't trust any Santa Claus, it could be a Hare Krishna." And of course some people got upset. They said, "My God, how do we look like, all the brahmacharis are in Santa Claus outfits running around, how does it look like?" Prabhupada had a very simple comment on this. He said, "It's a free country, I can dress as I like. That's it." And then came Bugs Bunnies and all kinds of foul outfits. But of course, it stopped again. Christmas went, and ultimately Prabhupada liked that brahmacharis go out as brahmacharis, of course. But when it came to preaching, direct to book distribution, Prabhupada's mercy was expanding a million times. He wrote me personally one single letter, ever letter I got from Prabhupada. He wrote to me, "Devotional service is absolute. Warning me a little bit. Don't think, don't get puffed up. Just because you are a book distributor, you are something so special. We have very sincere pujaris, we have very sincere servants in the temple. Devotional service by its quality is absolute. But," Prabhupada writes, "those who go out and spread Krishna's glories are even more dear to him. On a spiritual platform there is good, best, even more best, and more, but it's all the same. It's all spiritual. But even there is gradation. So definitely going out in Sankirtan and trying to please spiritual master in this way, this is a very, very effective way how to get Krishna's mercy. I saw Sankirtan devotees trying to fall in Maya again. Not possible. Not possible. Krishna is preventing them. When you have this mercy, it's very difficult to fall in Maya. Even you like to and you plan for it. So we like that people get this training, get this basis. Because that is the ultimate protection against Maya. I would like to go in the next days also more interactive for that. So please, if you have any questions or points, just write it down or bring it up, so we can go through anything possible and impossible on this issue and around Sankirtan, so we get maximum out of this minimum time we have. So there's some questions or comments to this?
I was curious. I had never considered your perception of devotees as being uninspired. Like people coming into the movement are people who are uninspired. I wonder, could you just explain that a little bit more on why would the people coming to the movement be uninspired people?
Because uninspired materially. They seek spiritual inspiration. You find amongst devotees, of course, to become a devotee requires very high level of idealism. So of course they're inspired, but they don't know where to place that inspiration. They tried, okay? They tried to be ecological, green party, whatever. They tried to be esoteric, this. I know yoga teachers and was coming to this movement. They tried even to start their own movement. Yeah? They tried so many things. It didn't work. Not very inspiring ultimately. So ultimately they might end up being not inspired. But actually the fact is, to become a devotee, you have to be very idealistic. Because one of the reasons why we don't have so many devotees, real devotees I'm speaking, is because our standards are very high. We really ask people to do something, Now it's a really severe, intense attempt to lower the standards, but still it doesn't help. You cannot hide away Prabhupada's standards. Well, he was asking for quite a lot, You surrender. You surrender everything. And I see today that many people don't surrender that much as we used to do. Not because we were so great, but because that was the standard. I came to the temple, devotees told me, this is the best place to die for Krishna. And I thought this was a good idea. I really didn't have any plans. Nowadays we have bhaktas, they have social security here and secondary agenda here, just in a case it doesn't work, When you have this attitude, then of course Krishna also, because he says, well, I reveal myself to you as you surrender to me. So you surrender little, be little Krishna consciousness. You surrender more, be more Krishna consciousness. So you hide more. I was taught, one of the first devotees told me, Krishna doesn't see what you give, he sees what you hide. So the point was, here I am, take me, kill me, do something with me. And suddenly life is so easy when you act like that. So many problems are removed. Of course I'm speaking about the 18 years old brahmachari. I had that luck to join someone at that age. When you join as a 42 years old grihastha or family man, let's say, it gets more complicated. But it's not impossible. But it's more intricate, of course. But nowadays we have a congregational circus, we have so many arrangements around that, how to take care of everybody, basically. But still, the mood is a mood of surrender, unavoidable. So, how much idealism is there, that will be tested. That will be tested.
Well, do you think that, like, you're saying there that people, that they tried different things within the material world and they weren't inspired. Could the same be said if people then try Krishna consciousness and maybe they're not inspired and they go away and search for something else?
Yes, of course. That's what I meant, saying it will be tested, the idealism. Some idealism is always there. Even a drunkard is extremely idealistic person because he will just empty out the maximum bottles in minimum time. So everybody strives for something. We are powered by desires. Now how much of the desire is there to become Krishna conscious? The fight is on. I mean, the test is going on all the time. Therefore it is an ongoing revolution, yes. A revolution of desires. And then it's to be tested. Sometimes devotees are shocked. Oh, big Sankirtan devotee, or a devotee, he practiced Krishna consciousness for 30 years. And then he can do something so stupid. Oh, this was there all the time. Just sticking, just a seed form. And it came up, the desire. And then the question, what you do with that? Do you want to surrender to that or not? That choice is always there. Otherwise, why brahmachari getting married? It's just a question of regulation of one's desires. Otherwise, we don't have to do that. So we do that. There is a regulated way how to do that. To realize, oh, it was just another idea, isn't it? Of course. Just another idea. And that idea will end. Sooner or later. It has to. If somebody tells you, I'm a successful, progressive, happy, transcendentally inspired grihastha, he's a liar. He's not honest. But most of the grihasthas are honest. They will tell you, yeah. You know, I get also purified here. You know, my wife just told me I'm the idiot number one. Oh yeah. And the women go, yeah. All these powerful spiritual heroes, they are men too, you know. It's a very sobering experience. I'm not negative. I'm married since 28 years. But Vikash Maharaj we will see each other again in 1 month in Croatia. It's a very special, very nice festival. It's going on since 7 years now. And he always used to push me in this, when some grihasthas come, because he's not so fond to deal with grihasthas in such a close range. So he always sent them to me, or it was a marriage ceremony, you know. And he said, oh, today we have a marriage ceremony. I didn't know that. And he said, yes, and my daughter will give a lecture to that. Like the priest is supposed to say something, right? And I was going, but me? Oh, whoa. So I tried my best, but I'm not lying. I try to conduct my lectures in a maximum real sense. I'm not lying. But, I try to be encouraging to the young couple sitting there, And after the lecture, which was not supposed, I didn't know that the brahmacharis are listening too. It's a small festival, so they're always standing around the corner somewhere. It's in a kind of public place. So after the lecture, the brahmacharis came and said, "Hey, that was the best brahmachari lecture! Great, we'll never get married." I said, "Well, that was not my intention. I tried to be kind of nice to the grihasthas, but I have to be real. Let's get real. It's a real thing. Anything you try to do for real is difficult. It's not so easy to be a real brahmachari, real grihastha, real sannyasi, real guru, real temple president, real servant, actually, of Krishna. It's not so easy. You can be easy a fake, a joke. That you can be easy. A hypocrite. That doesn't take much. So, we are looking for idealistic people. But that doesn't mean they are materially inspired. Prabhupada collected the most extreme group of people. They're hard to find today. Those days, you go through the initial crew, even of the gurus. Later on they became gurus, which were most of them were known to me. Very extreme personalities. Therefore he could send them to hell. They would go and make new bhaktas. There was no sense of I'm going to die here or survive. There was nothing of this. He sent them to India to open temples. They had no idea where they are going. He told, there were a few months in Krishna consciousness. He told them, you go and preach in Japan. In Japan? Prabhupada, I was never in Japan. And they said, Prabhupada, when I go, I will fall in Maya. Because they said, there can be only Krishna consciousness when Prabhupada is here. And Prabhupada smiled, it will be okay. Krishna will help you. And he just pushed them physically out of the door. They were crying, Prabhupada, and Prabhupada slowly closed the door. And they were going to Japan. Crazy place. Everybody looks the same, and you sit there on a street and they down, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Those devotees who did this kind of thing, opening new countries, starting new preaching fields, they never forgot this. This was the most ecstatic time of their lives. They wrote back to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, we have no association with devotees. And Prabhupada wrote back, then make some. Finished. Prabhupada, we have no deities. Prabhupada, the books are the deities. That's your deities. Boo! It's like, but they took that extra surrender and they got ecstatic. You read these books from my Godbrothers from the early days of these movements, they all emanate the same spirit of ecstasy. Because seeing Krishna is ungrateful, you go out there and get yourself killed for him, you think he will not notice. I had no concept when I joined this movement for some social security and future, and here I am still. I'm not socially secured at all. And as a grihastha, yes, I came to a situation, I start to look even for a job by the age of 52. So you get a job, no qualification. In all the countries I live in, and I have different identities, so, they look into the computers and they find my name, they find my registration, and then they find nothing. Just an empty screen. Just blinking. And they ask me, where were you this 40, 50 years? And I have to invent the stories. I was working in India, for a welfare organization which is not really registered. Something like this, just to cool them down, They think, I'm a ghost. No education, nothing, dropped out, of everything. Now I'm supposed to go around and find a job. What? Any drug addict who tries to be member of society again has a better background as I do from a material point of view. But I still live. I'm here. I have a daughter, I survived somehow. But of course I try to do what I have to do by any means. And times in between they're very strange, I have to say. I would never be able to promise today to a new bhakta what was promised to me from a society point of view. I was promised I will just serve Krishna and I will have to never worry for anything. So institutionally spoken, that's not true. That's fact. But what's true is that Krishna will take care, yeah. That I can demonstrate. He will be there. He doesn't forget the devotee. No. Situations I said, really, this is the dead end. But when you have a family, it's not funny, It's not funny. When you're alone, it's kind of, okay, I will die here. When you have a family, it's not so funny. But still, even then, the moment I said, this is really dead end, what is this? And I'm not alone. There are many, many grihasthas going through this. As one of them told me, the bottom of the grihastha existence, when you break the boxes of your children, where they store the coins you gave them, they save the coins, right? There are sometimes the saving boxes that you could pick or something like this. So when you break it, just to get some money to buy something to eat, you steal from your own child. I know many grihasthas who went through this. And you think, wow, that's a dead end. No, it's not. Krishna is always there. Something will happen. When you chant sincerely, you try to serve Krishna, you find yourself back again suddenly in a preaching field. You find yourself suddenly back again. Krishna will, out of nowhere, people come and say, hey, I can help you. It's amazing. So it is ultimately the best security we can get to get Krishna's mercy. And that you get when you show him you are ready to go out and distribute his books and become part of his preaching movement. That's the best security we can give to people. Any other securities don't promise too much. We want idealistic people. I don't want to become too personal, but when you go in my godbrother's bars, wow, very heavy people. I was just a small time, I was just an art student, just a romantic boy. But some of them, they were very heavy people. We had, in Germany, we had a GBC who was really of a very radical nature. He really liked revolution. Even then when it was not necessarily so needed. He liked to chant in police stations, and every Harinam was, the end of the Harinam was the police station. And he loved that. The city management wrote, you will not chant Hare Krishna on the streets anymore. He wrote back, thank you for the inspiration, we just doubled our chanting time. And they could do nothing about it. The founder of this temple, the devotee who started this temple, I will not get too close. I traveled with him on Sankirtan, Once again, it was police station all the time. I remember him even after he got married. Still, he kept on traveling on Sankirtan. And I know Pridhu Prabhu, he doesn't like when I say things like this, but I traveled with him. He had 2 rucksacks, one in front and one in the back. He looked like from parachute, you jump from an airplane. And then he had books in front and the back like this. And here I remember him, in the summertime, he had these short pants and this old sandals. And he just marched and he was going, take this! Like, pulling one book in front and one book in back. Just it's like, people are just, whoa! And he was always heavy because he's very good in argument. He likes argument. So that's something that you actually shouldn't do on the street, to argue. But in his case, it was like he had to do this. I'm his bhakta, he was the one who preached to me. So, so he still treats me, anytime we meet, he treats me like a, I'm 3 days around, he just treats me like a bhakta. He always tells me, you are my product. I tell him, it's a little bit late to say this kind of things. And we had some, I'm a little bit a product which got a little bit out of control. So, so we had some, some rubbing rasa too, of course. Who didn't with him? He likes that. But I remember sitting with him in a police station once again. And the policeman was filling up the papers, the illicit collection and all the things, and and the data, married, not married, and he was just newly married. He had this ring, and the policeman was like, sitting behind the table like this opposite, and he said, married, not married, and he was going, married, like with a ring, that close to his nose. And the policeman, German police, to do such a thing, he just pulled the gun and was going, I was like, So, that was the mood. Always surrounded by at least 2 to 3 Christians who were just He was the one who, in Heidelberg city, in Germany, I was around 3 months in Krishna consciousness. We had a Harinam with 80 devotees. It was normal, to go on the street with 80 devotees to make a Harinam. And we were all lined up, and he had his megaphone, of course. Very powerful one. Always full volume, And had the lecture, and, bam, 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 bam. And people always, Germans are pretty aggressive people, so it just, we always end up with a heavy argument. And then I remember that one Harinam, he said, you see this 80 boys and girls standing here? This is German government in 2 years. And I was like, I was a new bhakta, and I was going, maybe I will become a minister of nourishment, because I like lots of halava, So, No, we didn't become the German government. The German government came down on us. So let's get realistic. Let's stay with our very powerful but very effective book distribution revolution. Let's stay with that. Don't worry, it will be effective. So we want idealistic people, even at the cost that they are not so easy to manage. It's easy to manage foolish people. Come, join me. Surrender. Okay, what should I do? Bow down. Okay, get up. Grab the bucket. Wash the floor. Stop washing the floor. Now eat. Sleep. He's a very surrendered bhakta. He's a pure devotee. The only problem is he's stupid. But he's a nice guy. To manage such a crew, it's very exhausting. It kills any manager, because you become like managing sheep. We have built fence, and here's the sadhana, wake up! It's very exhausting to manage. But we define it as surrender. No. It's actually interesting to manage very strong idealistic people, but it's difficult still because they will have ideas. They have initiative. Like I know one typical Vaishya type of devotee. He's running business. Success, one of the very few devotees who can make business. And His father was making business, his grandfather was making business, and he's just like, this is his thing. So he described to me exactly what happens when you come into a Hare Krishna temple. He said, I came in a temple, I said, wow, that's far out, that's nice. So immediately I went to the devotee, he said, what can I do? They said, nothing. You sit down here and listen until the authorities tell you something. And I knew there's something very wrong in this moment. I walked out of the door. It took him, it was a very special endeavor, thanks to one of our spiritual masters who took a special, care of him to bring him back around and show him, no. If you have a good idea, you can do it. It's your idea, but it's a good idea, let's do it. And then he got inspired. So it's not, we sometimes think that surrender means that you shut people down. No. Prabhupada said there should be ideas, there should be inspiration. But Prabhupada said we should always agree, ultimately. It's not easy to coordinate people like this. And it wasn't easy for Prabhupada either, I tell you. Oh, not at all. As Ravindra told me once, he said, well, we have Prabhupada's letters published, what he wrote to disciples. But just imagine to publish the letters he got from the disciples. This is, you would get things to hear. Because it was all the time. Prabhupada had to deal with this, Prabhupada was sometimes so tired of this. He said, you Americans, you are simply meant to fight each other, that's all. And when I leave, you all become hippies again. He said this. Because it was all, it's just... But this is productive, can be productive. Prabhupada wanted initiative. If you go into the background of some of my godbrothers, how they grew up before they joined, it's hilarious. My first German, he was not a German, he came from America. His only qualification to preach in Germany was because his grandfather was German or something like that. So Prabhupada sent him to Germany to preach. There was nothing, there was hardly anything. There was one devotee, Shivananda Prabhu before, but then he arrived, Hansa Tutta. He came. And then I heard he just came to Hamburg train station and he almost cried, and he was never crying in his life. There wasn't a person who cries, But just sit there alone. Like, what am I supposed to do? Then he started to chant. So many devotees joined because of him. Prabhupada said, simply by kirtan you can take over the whole world. There was a time where every kirtan somebody was joining. And he was very eccentric. He liked guns. He liked weapons. He liked so many things. He always preached like, I'm coming from Germany. When I joined, there was Bhagavad Gita quote in a lecture, and there was Mein Kampf quote too, this Shastra published by Mr. Adolf Hitler. And they were thinking, this is very useful, because how did that Hitler manage to inspire these Germans like that? We have to learn from him, And then, it was like little Bhagavad Gita, little Mein Kampf, and I was sitting there as a doctor going, wow, Heil Hitler, wow. When Prabhupada came to Germany, they printed a poster with his picture. It was black and white, big photo of Prabhupada, and underneath was, Der Führer kommt. The Führer is coming. Can you imagine? The devotees in America thought, now the Germans are really mad. Unbelievable. It was all, terroristic. It was all, we are the German Kshatriyas, yes. Well, there are German Shudras too, And you look at the pictures when I got initiated. When you look closely, all the devotees going with Prabhupada there and walking with him on a morning walk and this, they all have jewelries, They have arm bracelets and earrings and like look like pirates, because they all Kshatriya. we're all Kshatriya here, to have earrings. Oh boy, I went through so many things, it's just like, it was fun, but it was powered by that preaching enthusiasm. That kind of covered, that paid for lots of things. But of course, Krishna wants us to progress. So we should have the same book distribution spirit back, with a little bit more brain maybe, yeah. Some brain is not harmful. And I'm sure that Ireland is a great field. The people here are of course simple, they are known for that. It's not a country full of brahmanas, But still, it can be easily reached, they have a pious background. I wasn't here, I would have to go on the street for a few days to check out the paths, what they are. They know how things are confusing and temporary because, the country was split and this and that and so many crazy things happen. They know. No stability in this world. Sometimes it's very good to preach in the countries, like Yugoslavia, where still people have in a living memory everybody lost some relative in a war or something like this. People remember, material world is a dangerous place. The worst preaching is, you can hardly preach in a country that they feel completely materially secured. Like the Nordic countries, Sweden, Norway, and this. They feel like, the whole world will go to hell, maybe, but not here. This is really difficult to preach. They will think, it's nice. Krishna consciousness is nice, but what I have to do with that? It doesn't concern me, so heaven. So there's for sure lots of preaching to be done. And one has to be satisfied. Book distribution is so rewarding because even the temple goes, everything goes, the books stay. You can recreate a whole Hare Krishna movement just from few books if they are read by people with some brain who got some idea.
Why do you think the intellectuals are not taking it up then?
Because they are puffed up. There's not intellectual. They are not intellectuals. Because they are proud. Krishna defines the first symptom of knowledge as humility. That's the first item on the list. And they are not humble. That means they have no brain. Even Lord Chaitanya had a problem with that, When he came to Varanasi, it was full of intellectuals. And he just... That's one of the reasons why we have relatively very simple devotees. Not very intellectual. And I saw devotees falling in Maya while being very intellectual. Prabhupada called it fertile brains. Too many things growing out of the head. You start reading Bhagavad Gita, you end up studying Sigmund Freud. What? Why? No, for preaching, we have to preach. For what? I don't need that. Nobody needs that. No, we have to defeat him. He's defeated by... Like Prabhupada didn't even encourage religious studies. For special cases, yes, like for special projects. But generally he didn't encourage it at all. He said, you simply ask one question. If you meet some member of some other religion or something like this, what is your goal? What is the goal? And you will find most of them, they don't know. Well, I can tell you what our goal is. And then you simply present Bhagavad Gita. That's all. You don't have to get mixed up with this. Being completely contaminated, becoming practically Muslim, becoming Christian, becoming whatever it is. There is no real Muslim and Christian either so much either, They don't have it clear at all, what is what. Because they have no Guru Parampara, they have not this. So why should we get involved? Prabhupada was very restrictive on this. This is also for Sankirtan. Should not get involved with arguments. Street is not the place to argue and play some rhetoric games. No. Our business is to go out, give them a book. Don't want a book? Doesn't matter. Very nice, friendly, Maybe next time, thank you very much, bye-bye. That's all. And if people ask, oh, that's another thing. Yeah, but when do they ask? How many people you need who really ask? Not much. So we just give the book, like a postman, just delivers the thing. The fact that he took a book, he gave something, oh, that's fantastic, it's great. And we have to be satisfied with that. I never speculate, I never understood even devotees why they got into this, but they don't read them, they don't become devotees. From my point of view, when I was trained by Prabhupada, I couldn't care less. Yeah, it's not nice, I would also like to have 1,000 bhaktas joining, but so what can I do about it? This lifetime is quite short, so let's do the best out of it. Give people some Krishna consciousness. Any minute, any touch they get with Krishna, that's valuable, that stays. The rest, so what? Even Prabhupada, when he arrived in America, there was a period he was planning to go back almost. There was no real result, there was no really practical result. So he said, I did act upon the instruction of my spiritual master, I distributed his books, I tried, but if it doesn't work, then I go back again. But suddenly it worked. And Prabhupada said, then I thought, let's try a little bit more. And then the result is this movement. So we should think like this. Let's try a little bit more. And be satisfied. I don't know the book lager situation here, how many books you have to distribute. And you have a book lager here or somewhere else?
Storage is on the other side.
Is here?
On the main island.
Oh. On the main island.
On where the ferry comes from.
There's a storage, there's a house or garage or whatever.
It's a shed, yeah.
Shed. Are they properly stored, the books?
Yeah, it's pretty good. They are, yeah.
I would like to see it sometimes. I used to travel for 15 years around BBT book lagers. So it's nice to know. Some of book lagers are in disastrous shape. Practically the books are ready to be shredded. Wet, sunshine, light and moisture kill the books. And how many books you have? What is the inventory?
Who's in there now?
It was the main book lager in Ireland?
Yeah, it's the main one. Yeah.
Is there any one? We've got a few books stored in the temple in Dublin. But they come from here. So.
Be nice to look. How many times you have stood old Bhagavatas for sure, something like that, CCs?
At the moment we tend to have Bhagavad Gita. We don't have many CCs or Bhagavatam.
That's good.
But we've got a mixture. We sell those sets, teachings of Lord Kapila Dev.
That's nice.
Like
you have a smaller box set?
The smaller white ones, yeah. The small
That's quite unusual because most of the book libraries you find exactly this CCs, and this, and no bhakta wants to touch it, such a big book. So, yeah. Be nice to look at it. And it's so wonderful that there's some hope that some party comes up. Please take care of these devotees. Even you may think, it's just 1, 2, what is this? Even 1 is so valuable. Because when he is there and he's living and doing this, then the other one will be inspired by seeing it. When you have nothing, it's like a fairy tale. Once upon a time, there was book distribution. Yes, those were the days. Then people cannot relate to it much. You go, yeah, once upon a time there was something, but it's not here. But when you see something living, something existing, therefore every Sankirtan devotee carries such a responsibility to be the examples for others. In Germany 15 years ago there was nothing. There was one devotee, one Sankirtan devotee, after Hare Krishna left. Now there are 10 Sankirtan men. Still there's an attempt to diminish that too, We have nowadays even people coming around who will be not exactly encouraging the book distribution. They will tell you there's more important things to do in life. I don't want to go in details because then people get offended really, but they will definitely not make book distribution to a priority. I was even addressed by one of the ISKCON authorities, you and your mission, always preaching about the mission. And I was like, what? Not my mission. No, I don't have any mission really. What? It's like, no. There's no more mission here. We have to speak about you. How do you feel? Well, I feel hungry. No, okay. But how do you really feel? I don't know, I have to think about it. I think that I feel, that I want, that I shouldn't feel, because when I think like this, then I don't feel very good. But we together, we should think seriously how we feel when we want. That maybe we should improve what we feel when we want. Because when we all ultimately feel that we want it, that we feel, then we will be happy. They give seminars on this. You can quote me on this. I can only laugh or cry. I don't know what should I do about this. The only thing, my message to the global world out there is, it never works like this, folks. Wake up. Because what you feel, want, or think is changing every 2 minutes. I saw devotees sitting in circles holding hands, trying to find out what they feel and want. Well, at that moment I feel that I want I should go to the toilet. It's unbelievable how much stupidity sometimes devotees can be part of. It's exactly what Prabhupada said. You can only feel and want and be happy when Krishna is happy. So let's find out what Krishna feels, let's find out what he wants, and let's try to make him happy, and then you will be automatically happy too. There's always the attempt to turn something spiritual into material. You always try to turn it back. That's how, spiritual movements become material movements. Just to use Christian example, like Jesus, when you have a thing, Jesus says, when your eye makes trouble in your progress, in spiritual progress, just block it out. Pretty heavy. Since stated in the Bible, I'm not expert, but the world is like a bridge. One should not build houses on a bridge. No. They made him to the boss of a Red Cross company. They put all the ice back and then heal the stupid and lame ones and whatever. All the Christians. And what do they do? More sick, more war, more craziness, more stupidity. They achieve nothing. Prabhupada was so heavy on this point. And the reporter asked him, so what do you do for the hungry people in Africa? Prabhupada said, we give them prasadam. What is the real program? What do you do for them? What will happen to them? Prabhupada said, they will all die. Finished. The reporter was just shocked. Okay. Because it's true. But it doesn't mean we shouldn't help. Devotee automatically help by preaching. They automatically distribute prasadam. They automatically help people from the root of the evil, and this is their bad karma, which will again bring upon them so much misery. So why should we treat our problems differently? We have a social problem. Let's preach together. Every preacher knows. Even in Sankirtan, things can get very edgy. I know that. There's 4 guys in a van, it's very close space. One is chanting. You think, not him again. The other one, he chants, Hare Krishna. You think, oh no, I want to chant my own peacefully. And then you have his shoes and your prasadam and this kind of things. Gets tense. But once you go out, you distribute books. Cool. And I used to go in Sankirtan with people you wouldn't admit the entrance into this building. We used to have bhaktas in Germany. The temple president told me, you take him and don't bring him back. Sometimes I looked in a mirror in a car and Monday morning I drove from the temple, I was going, oh! But I was known of being such a fanatic and so determined to do my quota that I couldn't care less what they do there. Sometimes I heard a sound in the back of the car. He said, I'm not a pure devotee. So I had my ways to manage the situations. You step on a gas, they all fly around. And you step on a brake, and they all fall on the floor. It kind of settles itself. Sometimes I had to stop the car and say, Prabhu, can you open the door? Yes. Can you go out? Bye-bye! Those are the days. Like I tell, very special people. There was lots of drugs going around those days, so what do you get? I was traveling with kleptomans, with anybody, But when Prabhupada was there, it was like such enthusiasm, I want to go on Sankirtan. Yeah, but you will not steal anything, right? No. No. We had one, his name was Urangama. He was distributing only in shopping houses. So he was a kleptoman, He had to steal something at least 5 times a day. And he was good. He was doing really far out in a shopping house. It's not so easy to distribute inside, because they had guards and everything. Oh, he was good. He did like 40 books and then he came out full of stuff. My only preaching to him was, can't you at least steal something reasonable? We are brahmacharis. Why are you stealing lady socks? No, this can be used, These are the kind of people we have to learn. So I'm just mentioning it just to enjoy yourself today, where we have a very different standards, to start with. Still there might be some problem, I know. But once you go out, it's always tense in the morning, I remember. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And you travel with 3 brahmacharis for 2 years, same party. And then what do you want to do? Whenever I turn around, Bhagavatam lecture, I will give a lecture now. They look at me like, again, same guy, So I stopped actually giving lectures. We were all sharing the lectures, so everybody was reading together like that. And then, finally you go out. Familiarity is a very dangerous thing actually. Familiarity makes you forget how valuable it is to be the devotees at all. So, then we went out, getting beaten the whole day by the Germans. We come back to the car, Yeah, it's so nice to see devotees again. So this is also one aspect of Sankirtan. It brings such a appreciation, and you see how people go to hell on such a scale. How nice is to be the devotees and meet them, and you learn really to appreciate. There's so many benefits. I did things I cannot even tell you. This nowadays unimaginable. How me and another brahmachari can go on Sankirtan with 5 cars full of Matajis. It's crazy. I think about it. It's completely crazy. No, there was nobody else to do it. And I got myself entangled because of my nature also, just stupid protective nature. I just got entangled with that. But they did great. You can calculate each van, 4 Matajis, times 20, that's 20 Matajis, each single one 400 books a week. That's 8,000 books a week, just from these vans. You know, it's heavy. And I met them later on. Of course they get married and they get babies and this, and I met them later on. None of them was bitter over this or something like this. They said, wow, that was the best time I had to go out there like that. That's just one aspect of Sankirtan. But I'm not even saying it will happen again. It was a very special time in that regard. But otherwise, Sankirtan is the same. It's the same thing. I feel always like being 18 again, you know, when I go in a Sankirtan and I sing like, yeah, hello, you know. It's my home. I used to live 15 years just in a van. So it's like, I eat better, I sleep better, you know. I feel almost rejuvenated when I come into such a thing for a little while. Then you realize, no, I'm not 18 years old. But it's such a wonderful thing. One should not miss the chance. When you are young, you have nothing else to hang up on. Nothing. Even later on, who knows what happens in your life, but that training never goes in vain. It goes never in vain. This is something so wonderful, it can stay with you the whole life. I don't know how much short is my timing schedule.
I think that was the lunch bell, was it? That was right.
Yeah?